I'm wondering if you'll take the initiative to have him release those returns so that we can see what kinds of connections he has with different countries around the world.
As far as I'm aware, the president says he's still under audit. And he said he's going to release them. Hillary Clinton and her campaign repeatedly criticized President Trump for this. And he won despite all that.
Interesting to see the stuff that won't fly at a town hall meeting. Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton at a joint town hall with Congressman French Hill in Little Rock. Let's talk about what it's like on that stage, what it's like out there in general with two former members of Congress, Harold Ford Jr., Democrat from the state of Tennessee, and David Jolly, a Republican from Florida, who joins us from Florida tonight. Congressman Ford, should town hall meetings be mandatory? Go out and meet the customers, meet your bosses?
You know, you have no choice these days. Not only do you have to stand in front of constituents like the young senator was in Arkansas, but you now have a technology overlay that really forces you, whether you choose to or not only be confronted, but to have to answer these questions. I think every senator, and for that matter, every congressman ought to be on record should this president release his tax returns. There's legislation in Congress to mandate that nominees of both parties for president have to release their tax returns, which I think is something that Congress should act on. Wouldn't it be great if both Senator Schumer and Senator McConnell could come together in a bipartisan way and say we should do this? If they don't do it, you imagine that perhaps Senator Warner and Senator Burr of North Carolina, the chairs of the chair and vice chair of the Intelligence Committee, perhaps as a part of the Russia investigation, this matter will arise and perhaps they will ask for it. But short of that, I don't know what will compel this president to do that. I saw John Carl earlier when Spicer couldn't answer the question and basically admitted this president won't release them unless he's forced to. So something will have to be a catalyst to make that happen.
Congressman Jolly, while it doesn't look like fun, I interviewed Congressman Donovan from New York a week ago. He said he has stopped doing town halls. He has tele-town halls, and he'll meet with small numbers of constituents. He blamed, you know, organized protesters, several of whom got in touch with us and said, we're just constituents. And, you know, Chris Collins up in upstate New York, the first member of Congress on the Trump train, is open about it, doesn't do town halls. He'll meet with small groups. I imagine, though, the pressure is going to grow and grow, and I imagine everyone is finding out how kind of reluctantly popular Obamacare was.
Look, and the pressure should grow, right? And the bucket of things that Harold and I don't miss are town halls when you have a historically unpopular president. I mean, and to the members you spoke of, if you're blaming, you're not campaigning, right? Look, we have had unpopular presidents before. We have had bad presidents before, and you have Republican members of Congress trying to defend a historically unpopular president with low credibility to their own constituents. Now, here's the important thing, and here's what I would suggest to my colleagues, and frankly, what I did when I was in Congress: concede the points where you can, right? It's the art of war. President Trump should release his taxes. And be a Republican that says that, because if there is nothing to hide, then it only strengthens your party and strengthens the president. There should be an independent counsel for Russia, because if there's nothing to hide, it allows the president to get back to an agenda of governing. And so, you know, at times in Washington, you fall into the posture that Republicans have to defend Republicans. Well, sometimes just defend what is right. And politically, for members of Congress, in the heat of the moment in these town halls, they'll come out ahead if they do that.
Congressman Jolly, prediction: what one signature piece of legislation is Donald Trump going to get through Congress and sign before the end of this year?
He blew it by not starting with bipartisan infrastructure led by John Delaney of Maryland, with the sign-off of the Chamber of Commerce to create an infrastructure bank for shovel-ready jobs that were paid for by repatriating offshore corporate income. He could have done it. He could have had a Trump-Schumer moment that looked like Reagan, O'Neill, and he blew it. And I don't know how he recovers after the health care debacle.
Congressman Ford, same question.
It's amazing. Both President Obama and President Trump started with health care. The identity of the Republican Party the last 8 or 9 years has been to undo or to repeal the Obamacare or some sort of health care act. And they both did it in ways that hurt themselves. I recall being with you shortly after Obamacare was released, and there was a problem around the tech overlay and the tech layout of it. And they probably should have stopped in to try to fix it. Trump now finds himself in a similar bind. David couldn't be more right. I think at this moment he's got to shift the taxes and infrastructure. This is the only thing that can perhaps bring Democrats and Republicans together. His political identity, Trump, is one that transcends party. Whether you like him or not, he was an imperfect way of saying we want independent. And I think Nicole said it best earlier, someone who's going to solve things and offer a different kind of politics in Washington. Thus far, he's failed to do that. Perhaps he needs a little change in the West Wing. It looks like that may be coming. And start fresh and start by bringing both McConnell and Schumer to the White House along with the congressional leaders and say, let's do something different and let's do something now.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.